I first met Chet at a lunch at the Fort Orange Club next to Karen Hitchcock. I didn't know exactly what to think of him at first, but it was a very interesting conversation. After that, both Chet and Karen became familiar faces in our concerts. They soon became friends. I must tell you that of all our relationships, that's the one that I value the most. I really value our friendship. They soon became donors, and they became donors setting the bar high for other donors. But you see, what I found interesting about them is that they became more than donors. They immediately became advocates of the organization. I saw them bringing people to concerts, talking to other people with great enthusiasm about APM, about Albany Pro Musica. Lastly, Chet became one of the leaders of Albany Pro Musica because we asked him to be one of the members of our council of advisors, and that has been a very valuable relationship for us as well. Albany Pro Musica made sure that I would know key leaders of this community. And I always noticed that Chet and Karen would do that as well. When they would come to a gala, they would come to a concert or to a reception, they would make sure that I would meet other people. Albany Pro Musica is now a force in the Capital Region and the Northeast. We perform with world-class musicians such as the Canadian Brass, the American String Quartet, the Escher String Quartet. We perform with the Albany Symphony. We perform with the Philadelphia Orchestra. In addition to that, Albany Pro Musica is now fully professionalized, as opposed to what it was before, a fully volunteered organization. Albany Pro Musica performance level is at its peak. And all this is only possible thanks to the generosity of our donors, because ticket sales are simply not enough. And of course, Chet and Karen are among the leaders of our donors. Something that Chet always mentioned at our meetings is that he believes in partnerships. And I found it interesting because I saw some very particular interest in the idea of us being in partnership with other organizations. He always would come with great enthusiasm to talk about it. So the notion that that was important to him made me understand the importance of that for Albany Pro Musica and for this community. So this has been an important value of the organization in partnership with different organizations in the Capital Region. Albany Pro Musica is a force in the Capital Region, as I mentioned, but it is soon going to become a force at a national and even international level when we launch our international choral festival, the Pro Musica International Choral Festival, which is going to take place in 2020. Albany Pro Musica bold vision is only possible with the bold support of leaders like Chet and Karen Opalka. You see, I believe that philanthropists are architects of their community, and Chet and Karen will be remembered as chief architects of the Capital Region. Chet and Karen, we are honored to call you our friends. We love you. Muchas gracias por su apoyo.
So Chet and Karen, when I took the job with the Albany Symphony, it was before I started, and among the first people I met were Chet and Karen, and it was at an American Music Festival concert for the symphony. What I remember is how warm and welcoming they were. Here I was, I hadn't moved to this town yet, didn't know very many people, but I met them. They were very friendly. And the one thing that I remember is that Chet had a safety pin on his lapel, which is a signal that you are someone who will stand up for people who are vulnerable. And that made me realize that I had made the right decision to come to the Capital Region. The Opalkas are connectors. And for me, I started with the Albany Symphony, didn't know anybody. And I would say within the first couple months, there are about a dozen organizations that I now have relationships with because either they said, you should go talk to this person, or I get a phone call from somebody and they say, Chet and Karen told me that that I should call you. And it's been wonderful because it made me feel very much part of the fabric of the community, but also for the symphony, where we are trying to reach out into the community and be more connected, be part of the fabric. That type of introduction and encouragement is priceless. We're also busy trying to get our work done. We don't take the time to have conversations to connect with other organizations because we're gerbils on our wheels, and what Karen and Chet do is that they encourage us to, hey, get off of your wheel, go talk to the other gerbils and make things happen. Chet and Karen are themselves really creative and open thinkers, and that's very important for an organization like the Albany Symphony, where I feel that they really trust and believe in our vision, David Allen Miller's vision of what we do, and to have people who are also creative in their thinking is very important for arts organizations. Resources are not infinite. With Karen and Chet, there's room under the tent for all of us. Because of the connections that Karen and Chet have made and make us make as a community, their legacy will be many wonderful things that will happen because we come together and collaborate through their encouragement.
Well, the Opalkas have been great champions of the symphony, as they have been champions of every wonderful institution in this community for years and years. In fact, I would say that they were probably, in my tenure, and I've been here now 28 years, they were among the earliest champions of our education programs and have quietly been funding our Averill Park school programs, which have been going on for more than 20 years, partly because they care so deeply about education, but partly also because they have a very personal connection to the Averill Park School District. Karen was the librarian at Post-and-Kill Elementary, and I think also a second grade teacher. And of course, they're so passionate about education, and they have this incredible school in Cambodia that they've supported for many years. So we've felt so fortunate to have them as our friends, as our supporters, as our champions. But the thing I really want to say about the Opalkas is that the Opalkas have made a huge impact on the Albany Symphony, and they've done it kind of quietly over many years because they have, for more than 20 years, been supporting our Averill Park school programs, and we do very extensive programs in Averill Park. We have a program called Adopt a School, where we bring in 8 different pairs of musicians, and I go in to teach the kids how to conduct. And Karen and Chet have really been the spark plug, the thing that made that series exist. The thing that I think most strongly about the Opalkas, in addition to their incredible largesse and their participation in everything in our community, is that if I were trapped on a desert island, I would want to be trapped there with the Opalkas, because I can't think of two people who are more fun than they are. And not only are they fun, but not only are they fun to be around, but they make you feel so good whenever you're with them. They're just the most giving, warm, interested, loving people I know.
Well, my relationship goes back to when I first started here at the Troy Music Hall, maybe 8 or 9 years ago, and they were among the first people I saw in the audience when I was doing my curtain speech, and I always loved to see them in the lobby smiling before the show, and they have such diverse tastes in the shows that they attend. It's really a pleasure, and they're so enthusiastic about the work that we do here at the Music Hall. Well, it's been really wonderful to have their support, and both, financial and personal support, that they have lent their enthusiasm to me personally and to the work that we're doing here at the Music Hall, and it's been a real boost, and it helps us feel good about what we're presenting. When I am on stage and I see Chet and Karen sitting in the audience, it really makes me feel good, and I see them talking to the other members of the audience, and I think it just helps create such a convivial atmosphere, and I think everybody feels good about where they are right then. They've been very supportive of our engagement in the community and helped us cultivate relationships with other organizations and individuals who feel strongly about the work we do here at the Music Hall, and that's been very helpful over the years. Thank you, Chet and Karen, for all you do in the community, and I'll see you at our next show.
Well, the Opalkas have been a part of the life of WMHT since before I came to town, and that was a dozen years ago. They helped us move into this terrific building in Troy that we occupy. They've been big supporters of numerous programs, most specifically AHA, which is our weekly program about the cultural community, and of course WEXT, our AAA radio station. Well, I think the great thing about the Opalkas is that they've given us the freedom and the encouragement to try new things. Sure, they've been there for capital campaigns and the basic structure of our organization, but they're always there telling us to look beyond what we're already doing and think of something new. It's exciting for us, and exciting for us to have that kind of support. Well, the thing I will always remember about working with the Opalkas is the encouragement they've given us to look around the community, discover new things, and bring them to light. I think they love what we do because of what we do, but like them, we're excited not only about what we do, but about how what we do can shed light on the great work that others are doing in their community. I think that's one of the ways we'll remember them.
Well, I've known the Opalkas for at least 12 years, give or take a year or two, and they're some really wonderful people who we have come to love even more than when we first met them. Because you meet these folks, and they're the nicest people, and you want to know them, and you want to get closer and learn more about them, and I found that they have this aura about themselves that is very unassuming and very unpretentious, and yet their love of art and everything is just so. I mean, they know it. They live it, and it's amazing to me. Well, the Opalka's support for what we do here at WMHT, WEXT, and RISE has been almost immeasurable. And I'm not talking about just financial support, because they've been very helpful that way, but they care about what we do, and it's very evident that they do, that they're very in tune with what's happening, and they have suggestions, and they're very actively involved in helping you think so that you can do your job better, so that you can serve the community. And I think they do that because, to me, it seems like, yeah, they love the arts. They love everything about the arts. They love music. They love art. But they love the community. And they want the community to have access to really great stuff, whatever it is, whether it's music, art, the community is better because they are here doing stuff. So the Opalkas, Chet and Karen, their love of the arts, their deep commitment to the arts, I think really is very beneficial to this community. And what it does is I think it shows how much they love the community and how important the community is to them, that they want to foster the arts in our community, whether it's visual arts or music arts. To have people like Chet and Karen supporting the station, I mentioned it before. It's not just financial support. This is a commitment from inside themselves that you can feel. That's more than money. It's love. It's a devotion. It's an infectious spirit, really. To see their faces at a show when you're out at a concert, to see them, just like they're so excited to be there, to be immersed in the art, not only that they're supporting, but that they're just there to enjoy, to be a part of. That is really what makes doing what we do so much better, to come across people like that. Chet and Karen are just fantastic that way. WMHT Rise, the radio reading service for the blind and visually handicapped, print handicapped, is a service where we read the daily newspaper, magazines, books. It's a really wonderful service. It helps so many people throughout the community who need access to these materials. And Chet and Karen's involvement in Rise is I think, a very personal involvement. I think it's something where they believe in the access and the ability for people to have materials that might help educate them that they might not otherwise be able to have access to. I think that I'll remember Chet and Karen's work and the efforts behind what we do the most when I think about why they seem to do it. I mean, I've never asked them why they do it. I probably should, but I've never asked them, because to me it feels like they just do it because this is their community. This is important to them. Not WMHT, but the community. And that is something that you don't find everywhere. It seems like people are always willing to run you down and call you Smallbany or something like that. But Karen and Chet would never think that way. And that's inspirational, I think. The fact that they just, you can tell that they're here because they love it. And they want it to be better. They want more. They want everybody to have something special. I love when I get to see them out at a show, because that sort of bubbling over giddiness about what's about to happen is very infectious. And it's really, it makes what we do worthwhile. Because you don't always see, in radio, even television. I don't do the television part. But in radio, you don't see who you're talking to. You start talking and you say things and you think, I hope somebody's hearing this. And then you think, I hope it makes sense. And then I hope what I'm saying actually helps somebody, whatever it is, gets through a bad part in their life, learn a little something, hear something really cool in the music and learn about that. So you don't usually see them. So when we get to see folks like Chet and Karen, you feel the love for what they're hearing. You can just see it all over their faces. It's great. I love them. Wonderful people. Chet, Karen, thank you so very much for everything you do, not just for me, for WMHT, but for the community. The community loves you. We all do, even if they don't know who you are.
The Opalkas have supported all kinds of initiatives at Sage, but by far the one that's had the biggest impact on us in the community is the Opalka Gallery, which is a public art gallery on New Scotland on our Albany campus. And it's a place that brings together artists and students and faculty and the community, and it's a wonderful, lasting contribution. When I think about Chet, he's a scientist, he's an entrepreneur, he's an angel investor, but what he really cares about and has supported is the arts. And he and Karen have been great patrons of the arts, and I think that's because they recognize both the ways in which art brings people together as a community and the way in arts help to rebuild the cities. And that's been great for us as well. Chet's a trustee of the Sage Colleges, and I'm just in my second year here, and as I meet people, often one of the first things they say to me is, oh, the Opalkas are on your board. So it's been a great entree for me to meet people all across the Capital District to be able to work with Chet and Karen. Well, I think of both the Opalkas as connectors. I mean, it's not just that they've connected me to all kinds of people, but they do it with people on our board, with people on our faculty and our staff. He's a great cheerleader for Sage, and as such, it helps our recognition in the community, and that's really important. Well, one of the things that Chet contributed to that conversation about the future direction of Sage is that he's had the biggest impact, in a way, on the Albany campus, which has sometimes been seen as the lesser-known campus of the two campuses of the Sage Colleges in Troy and Albany. So as we talked about the vision of talking about it as one campus with one college with two campuses that all students can enjoy and make use of, and having the connections with both Troy and Albany, he was a real visionary and supporter of that direction for the institution. On behalf of all the people at Sage, I want to offer a big thank you to Chet and Karen Opalka for all they've done to promote the institution, to promote the arts, and bring together the community and the college. It ties in perfectly with my vision for the future of Sage, and those things just wouldn't be happening without their help.
I first met Chet and Karen when they became large sponsors for the Breathing Lights project a couple of years ago, which I directed. They were incredible champions of that project, taking our message about what we were doing across the region within their wide network, and really showing up for events, supporting us the best way that they knew how, which was to get the word out, to champion what we were trying to do, and to really be a regional megaphone for the project and its goals. The Opalkas decided to work with Jim Richard Wilson, who was the founder and director of Opalka Gallery, to create a new space on the campus of the Sage College of Albany, partly because their son had graduated from Sage's Art and Design program, and it was a wonderful education for him. He's a very talented designer. He actually designed our logo, the gallery's logo, and I think that they had a wonderful relationship with Jim, and Jim convinced them that having a premier space on campus would offer so much to the students at Sage, to their experience as art students, and they were really kind of taken by his vision and wanted to be a part of that legacy on the campus where their son had gone to school. They're art patrons who are not just interested in having their name on a building. They're genuine lovers of the arts. They collect art. They are curious about art. They're knowledgeable about art. So it's a real partnership with them. At the same time, they don't meddle in the details at all. They respect that we're professionals, that we know what we're doing, and they just want to be supportive. So it's a wonderful relationship. I have a monthly meeting with Chet, usually over a really fun lunch, and tell him what we're up to. He loves it nothing more than when we collaborate with other arts organizations, when we bring in diverse audiences, when we really network with new and different types of organizations and individuals. But it's a very supportive relationship where he and Karen really champion what we're doing, attend our events, and really provide support and guidance when needed. Chet and Karen are both great champions of what we're doing. They find a way to come to our events to support our vision for what we're doing at the gallery, and to provide information to their large network about what we're trying to do at the gallery. I think their legacy is simple on Sage's campus because of the building space itself. They are, I think, going to be remembered as some of the region's largest arts patrons, but I think that they're more interested in just beautiful buildings and beautiful pieces of artwork on the campus. They were really interested in the community that came together, in the spaces that they helped to create. I think they're interested in the role that art plays in connecting diverse people and getting people together in a room to experience something new, something different. I think that their legacy to the students will be going to a school that has, a world-class institution right at their doorstep that they get to show their work in as well once a year, once in their student careers. And I think, for me personally, just knowing that we have support from Chet and Karen, who understand that arts are not just a luxury in a community. They play a vital role in the kind of health and vitality of a region. They see that big picture and how it's not just pretty things that we're putting in space, but that we're really connecting people, we're connecting students, we're connecting communities through the work that we do.
One of my favorite things about Chet and Karen is they're really open-minded and they listen. And in the arts, there are a lot of ways of solving problems, and they're very encouraging about figuring out the right way to solve that problem. I love that they have been part of the Art Center for 10, 15 years. I don't even know, actually. Karen was on our board. Chet is the chair of our upper floor development project. Karen helped us start our Studio Sprouts program. She actually went down to the city with me and we looked at model programming together. So they're very inquisitive, and I like that. And I just want to thank them for everything they've done for the Art Center. Beyond their philanthropy, they're also amazing volunteers. When we started our early childhood program, Studio Sprouts, Karen went to the city with me. We looked at model programming, we interviewed artists and teachers, and she helped us devise our new programs. Chet is the chair of our upper floor development project, and that's taken lots of twists and turns, and he's been right next to the Art Center the entire time, figuring out what we should do with our empty floors. You know, the Art Center of the Capital Region has been serving our community for 50 years, and a lot of people still don't know exactly what we do. And what's wonderful is I think sometimes Karen knows more of what we do than I do. And I love that she's got that memory and that commitment to how we serve our community. I think both Chet and Karen are different than other funders. They're very entrepreneurial in their thinking, and they are open to different ideas than maybe a traditional funder would be. I consider Karen and Chet role models for the community and for me personally. The way that they care and invest in our community is something that I think everyone here today could do. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Chet, for everything you've done for the Art Center.
Chet and Karen Opalka are remarkably special people. To think about where their support goes is to follow where their hearts go. And that makes giving, participating wildly more meaningful for the recipient, because they know the person's heart is there. Chet talks about regionalism. He talks about the arts and regionalism. And he doesn't just use words. He shows up. He's at meetings. He and they not only say yes financially, but they're in the room talking about it, saying, this is important, guys. What does it take to happen? At the same time, they're patient. They know it's not all going to happen overnight. And if some grand idea fizzles, they go, okay, no problem. Come back to me when you got something better that might work. They're great. I just love working with them. Chet and Karen have always been advocates for the regional nature of what Proctor's does. So when Proctor's first was approached by CapRep to help reach out, and we turned to Ellen Sachs of MVP to help raise a little bit of money, raise some awareness, help us take what I thought was a political gamble for us, because there was still a lot of Albany, Schenectady, Troy, Saratoga Spring provincialism. She brought Karen and Chet into the room as part of a group of philanthropists to say, yeah, we understand why this is important and we support it, and we're going to be helpful to you, proctors, to make that step. So in a sense, Chet and Karen were right there at the beginning before we even imagined the word Proctor's Collaborative. But when we first took that step 9 years ago, to keep CapRep healthy and in the community, as we've gone to UPH and looking at other projects and decided to rebrand to Collaborative, they were right there saying, great idea, we love it. We talked to them because that's where good advice comes, and a lot of good advice is good decisions. So we keep them close because they have important things to say. And I'm on many committees with Chet because he shows up. His heart is at the table. Their heart is at the table, not just with a check. Both time and energy and a look in his eye and a thoughtful comment. Yeah, well, care is a very good word. They care, and a lot of people care. It's not to underwhelm or overwhelm something, but they care in a particular way that means they'll say yes, but they want to be in the room. They want to inspire people by their presence, and that means a lot, because a check is a check and doesn't do the same thing as someone in a room. Thank you intensely.
Well, you don't really have to go out and get the Opalkas involved with the arts. They come right in. I mean, I've known them for, oh gee, my whole tenure at Capitol Rep, and they have had my heart for more than 2 decades. Karen was on our board, and she is one of the most articulate and wonderfully supportive people I know in the Capital District who really believes in arts education. And she was a strong advocate for that on our board. And, and the thing that I really like about when you have Karen, you get Chet. When you have Chet, you get Karen. I mean, they're really kind of frick and frack, and they are just a really wonderfully dynamic couple. I think of them and I think about the words rare, cherished, and generous. But no one can really explain exactly that the most wonderful thing that they have is their hearts. Karen's love for animals, for lost causes, which, the arts are right in there with her for that. Her love of education, as we were talking earlier, her love of her garden. Top of the line, though, top, her family. All of these things create this package that you want to hug these people when they walk in a room. They've done significant things for so many arts organizations. I know that you're going to talk to a lot of people and you're going to find, we're all going to say the same things, but the symphony, the incredible outreach, the gallery, at Sage College, the Art Center in Troy, Albany Pro Musica, Capitol Repertory Theater, Park Playhouse. I mean, these are organizations where they have, they make their mark. And I'm really struck that when I go out to a fundraiser, usually they're there. I didn't mention Ellisonopoli. That's another one that they support. If you name any, they've probably been to a gala, and if they haven't been to that gala, their names are in the program as supporters. They're amazing people. Well, Karen is actually a quiet leader, unless you ask her about politics. And then she's not so quiet, but she quietly leads, and she doesn't want a lot of fuss around her. The way that she led about education in particular, because she really helped us get our education programs off the ground, is that she was extremely generous and talked very quietly how important the arts were in schools. And she talked about that the Albany Symphony had a big program that the Opalkas were very instrumental in making sure happened in Averill Park. And then our On the Go program was really able to lift off because of the great support that Karen gave. So she is not a woman who is of many words, unless you're talking privately to her about things very close to her heart. But she leads by acting. Her actions lead. You gotta love people like that on your board, because she is supportive. She wants you to be successful, and she does stuff. And I loved having her there. I miss her every day that she's not on our board. I just loved it. Yeah. There are some people who are your supporters who just let you know it's going to be all right. And Chet is definitely in that category. He somehow just will assure you that it's going to turn out. So you can go through really challenging times. I mean, 2008, 2009 were years that were very tough on the arts community. And they were there for us. They were very generous during that time period. But it wasn't just their generosity. It really is that you can look at both Karen and Chet, and they'll go, we'll get through. I mean, they'll take your hand, they'll squeeze your hand, and it's kind of like that 60s, though, hippie hands that you take that go, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to forge through. We're going to do this thing. And always, they have the greater good in mind. They're not doing it for themselves. They're doing it because they believe our community will be better for the arts and the many organizations that they support. And that is one of the reasons I love them both so much.
When I think of individuals that are really true community stewards, I think of Karen, I think of Chet. First of all, I think of them as a couple, really as a power couple in our community. I think of their warmth. They're very genuine. And I think of what they do to give of not just their dollars, they've been very generous over the years, but of their time. The number of organizations where they serve personally and think strategically on how that organization can better whatever that mission is. And while their particular focus has been in arts and culture, and I think they know as they make that investment, how that improves people's lives. But to the bigger mission, when we have a strong arts and cultural community, we have a stronger capital region community, whether it's for residents, whether it's for visitors, or as you look to attract new talent to our community, it's better because of what Karen and Chuck do on a regular basis. They are, you know, they truly are an economic driver. You know, you take the beginning and their work in our community. And Chet was someone who obviously is a brilliant man. And because of some intellectual property, financially did well. And he's one of those folks who could have just been hidden in the community or could have taken that opportunity to leave and go somewhere else. But instead, they've invested in our community in so many ways. And because of that, we're a better community.
I know Chet and Karen from my work with the Alliance for the Creative Economy, which is a project that looks more broadly, encompasses the arts and culture sector, but looks more broadly at the economic impact of all of those businesses that are involved in creativity. That would be like media and film and television, the whole package. And we found out through our work that the creative economy is the 4th largest employment sector in the capital region. I had always heard of Chet's name, but I had never met him. And he attended one of our roundtable tours where we tried to bring the creative economy message to business leaders and community leaders throughout the 8 counties. He came to one of our sessions, and funny enough, he was the only one who asked to come to another one, and he attended one in Hudson. And within about a month, I received an email from him on a Friday about a New York Times article that said, there's an article here that's about what you do. And the name of the article was Betting on the Berkshires. And I read the article and I wrote back to him, I said, that's exactly what I was talking about. And he asked pointed, great questions about what was in there and what I meant. He was clarifying my points for me as he was emailing me. And to the point where he, by Monday, through the course of about 5 emails, he had broken it down as to what we needed and said to me, what do you need and how can I do it? And he funded a set of focus groups that validated everything we have been talking about for the past 2.5 years. It gave us the perspective of what people in New York City and Boston perceived about the capital region and validated the fact that they actually weren't thinking of us at all. We needed that in a quantified way so that we could start telling that story to business leaders, which is where our project is at right now. Without that funding from the Opalkas, I don't think that we would have had the numbers to put it over the top. He allowed us to get that piece that cracked the project open, made it able for everybody to hear it. I think what was immediate about Chet was that he was listening in the back of the room, and he moved forward when he knew he should. He found that piece of research that tied together our message and the message that was in the media, and he came back to me in a crystal clear way. And that was really helpful and clarifying for me as the leader of the project to say, yes, that's actually the fundable piece I was looking for. And he helped me break it down and make it actionable in a way that I hadn't really gotten to before. And we are now carrying around some data that is the new step of the project. We will be investing in most of our energy into what we found out there, which is how to make this region more visible to those outside of here. But if we couldn't have talked to those people in New York City and Boston, we wouldn't have known what we were attacking. It allows us to be much more strategic and to tell our story much better to those who are inside the region. Thank you, Chet.
They're fun, they're creative, they're thoughtful, they give of their time. They're just amazing individuals. The thing about Chet and Karen Opalka is they are engaged. They love the community, they love the region, and it just comes out in their giving and in their engagement and just their enthusiasm for the Capital Region. Every time I see Chet and Karen out in the community, they just have big smiles on their faces, and you know that they are loving what they're doing. They're giving, they're supporting, they're encouraging, they're cheerleading in the community. And one of the things I love is, I bumped into Chet once and he's got a little pin and it says, "Adventure Before Dementia." And when he tells about it, he just chuckles, he just laughs. He's like, yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna live my life to the fullest. I'm gonna be as generous as I can. I'm gonna be as supportive as I can to the community. And it's just so cool that we have them here in the Capital Region. We're so honored as a community foundation to honor them at our celebration of philanthropy. The thing about Chet and Karen is they're welcoming. Whenever I see them, and I know other people experience this as well, whenever you see them, they are so happy and cheerful and welcoming. They let you know that they care about you as a person, you care about their organization, and it just comes out in everything they say and do. We are a better community because of Chet and Karen's love and generosity and engagement in the Capital Region.